The views and opinions expressed by Treefort participants are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the position of Verse Course Verse or its members. We do, however, believe in free speech, and so no, we will not be editing these out. You goddamn heathens. By God, act civilized, even if you ain't.
Sven, my friend, how's it going? It's been a while.
It's going.
Yeah, how?
Well,
I'm just kidding, I didn't freeze. Hey, I'm going to be really quick. I don't want to take up a bunch of your time. I want to ask you a question. I have an idea that I really want to do. And I know you may not be part of the podcast anymore, but you are a Verse Course Verser at heart and you know it. I think you're going to dig this. Okay, so this year, we're covering 1994, and it's a big deal. We're having a blast doing it. But what we're also trying to do is concentrate a lot on independent artists. We've got the YouTubes coming out. We've got the Indie Artists of the Months. We're really trying to help these people. And I thought of a really good way to do it. Now, we all grew up in Boise, right? We love the area, and we know that when they put their minds to something, they do it right. So here's my thoughts, Sven. Treefort. Verse Chorus Verse does Treefort 2024. We do it right. We grab the Rachel. We don't grab the evil. Apparently he's off doing something stupid with some dummy. We go, we experience it, we live it, we breathe it, we drink it, most importantly.
Of course.
Look, I've looked at the lineup, man, and there are some great headliners, yes. Get to see a little K-Flake, get to see some Spill to Spill. That's great, but I've been listening to some of the other indies. As the lineup goes down, the print gets smaller, those bands. And I'm telling you, they're amazing this year. I keep running into great sounding bands. So,
yeah,
we steal you and your amazing camera work. I steal Rachel. We go live it up. We interview. We buy vinyl. We listen to music. We talk to these motherfuckers and find out what we can do to help them out. And most importantly, we go watch brilliant, brilliant shows on beautiful days or not so beautiful days in Boise, Idaho. Treefort 2024, I want to know what makes it tick. It's an incredible festival, right? We all know it's an incredible festival.
Yeah.
It's about the city. It's about the artists. It is not corporate. Let's figure out why. Let's figure out what it's all about there, why they keep getting these amazing independent artists, and how we can play a big part in it. What do you say? I'm not going to take no for an answer.
Okay, man.
Okay? In fact, I think we're done talking. So I'm excited to see you. I'm going to see you. You really don't have a choice. It's tomorrow. Goodbye.
It's all right. See ya. Okay. Guess I'm going to Treefort.
Okay, so just saw a show, which makes me think that there's a specific award we should be talking about. We have an award for Treefort called the Blew You Out of the Water Award. Just live, like everybody needs to see them.
Right.
So, who do we got?
San Fermin?
Yes.
I didn't notice.
I saw them twice. And both times. It was interesting because there's in the Olympic, it was like more closed-in bar setting.
Yeah.
And then having the outdoor at the hideout stage,
Very
right?
different
Hideout
vibe.
stage? Different vibe.
Huge crowd. How big was the first crowd?
The first crowd was packed like fucking sardines.
Ended up
I would
packed,
say
yes.
they were probably at capacity. It was a little like, if there's a fire, we're all gonna die.
Awesome.
In there. And then yesterday, they played
Outside.
right before K-Flay.
Yeah.
And so all of the K-Flay people were over there as well. There were a couple hundred easy.
You talk about live musicians that just every single one of them is so on point.
Well, they are, I know there's some Berkeley in there, there's some Yale composition in there. Like, they have a lot of talent.
Verse Course Universe DL, Rachel, and then of course, before I introduce you, do you say San Fermin or San Fermin?
San Fermin. But you know what? On our first album ever, before we had decided, we didn't even know that was our band name yet, Alan says San Fermin. So he records, like, we have a song where he says it wrong. Yeah.
Perfect.
I have always. So anyway, this is Ellis, the composer extraordinaire from San Fermin. It's messing me up because I have called you San Fermin since I found you guys in like 2015, and now I'm
Whatever
trying-
works.
I'm trying
Whatever
to
works.
correct it.
As long as you're saying something.
So Ellis, I mean, you don't just play piano, but would you call yourself the composer for San Fermin?
Yeah, composer, songwriter.
Okay, so from Yale,
Yeah.
you did I think it was a project in Berkeley.
Yeah, I met Alan at Berkeley.
That's-
That was like a summer program, yeah.
But you've done a lot of work outside of the band in composition. So how do you blend those together?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I have these sort of parallel careers. One is, touring around with San Fermin, playing shows and festivals like Treefort. And then the other is as like a composer of contemporary classical music and also like theater and opera and stuff like that. And those two worlds come in and out for me in terms of how they connect.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes, I'd say on our earlier records, maybe like the first record, and actually the fourth record as well, I kind of treat the band a little bit like there's a little bit of a theatrical aspect to it. Like there's these sort of almost concept-y records that have this back and forth.
Absolutely.
So sometimes I'm really drawing on that kind of, that kind of world, and that kind of thinking about the form of the album, the long form structure of like where the dramatic climax happens and all that kind of stuff. And then sometimes I don't. Like this most recent record is just all about songwriting. And it's much more about each song is a little world, and that's what it is.
Definitely noticed that.
Yeah.
The new album Arms, which is an incredible album, it actually seems like it's getting pretty big. Like I've heard your group's name more this year than I ever have by far.
That's great.
Are you noticing that at all?
Well, we played our first show on this tour yesterday, so it was a good first show. But I was looking forward to the tour partly just to see if, are people singing along, are they listening? But I think the response has been really good so far.
Well, one of the guys, or Alan last night, somebody in the audience was like, you were singing everywhere.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you knew
That's always nice.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And that place was packed last night.
Yeah.
Like, I was a little, like, fire code, glad I'm by the stairs. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It was,
She got to go.
like-
I did not, but I do get to see them.
yeah, people kept flowing up the stairs. Like, we got some seats, some actual seats.
Good.
But
Yeah.
I was like, you're still letting people in? Why are you still letting people in? This is getting scary.
The more the merrier.
Yeah.
But festival shows are funny, especially, Treefort's so cool because you do like an outdoor show, like on the main stage or whatever, but then you also do a club show. And it's funny doing the club shows because at festivals, we played at 10 last night. At like 9:45, there was no one in that room. And I was like, oh God.
Wow.
That's how we got seats.
Yeah.
We got there, we got drinks, we sat down, and we're like, oh, this is great. People are just mingling, it's fine. And then once you guys
And then at
started,
like
it was
9:59, it was like,
slammed.
yeah. And that's really fun because it adds like a dose of adrenaline for the band.
Sure. But at first you're like, oh, this will be fine. We can just be chilling. Let's just hang out.
Yeah.
I was traveling last night and I got one text from Rachel, and it was San Fermin is so good.
There's
Oh, thank you.
you guys, you can really tell that you're actual musicians, that you've studied it, that you're composers, because everything was so beautiful and so well put together.
Thank you so much.
And it's interesting that you're the brains of the operation, it seems, because everybody is so talented that you're all on the same level.
Yeah, totally. I think, I would just like to say on the record that the brains of the operation are spread out pretty liberally across
Yes.
everyone. But I think one thing that we have now, we've been a band for a while, and everyone just kind of knows their role and knows. I think we're pretty clear on just the teamwork aspect of it, and so the songwriting is coming from me. That impulse is coming from me, and then it goes to Alan, who's the lead singer, and he produced the most recent record. He's been my best friend for 15, 18 years, whatever. And he is like sort of the first editor. So, I'll generate all this material and then he's like, good, bad. I would never sing this.
Yes.
You know, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's very critical early on, and so that can lead. Sometimes it's frustrating, but what it does do is it puts a lot of early emphasis on me writing songs that he can connect to, and that Claire, because then Claire comes in and she does the next round of edits basically, and she comes in and for me, like, I don't sing, which is a little unusual for this genre to write the songs but not sing. Right. It's very common in like classical music, like opera and whatever. So it's a little bit unusual, but I feel like my role is to write songs that feel really personal to me, but that also kind of live in the center of the Venn diagram between my experience and my singer's experience, so that they can feel like they own it and then it's theirs. And that's a fun thing to do because it really like flexes the empathy muscle, you know, so I feel like I'm really connected to my bandmates in that way. And then the rest of the band, I mean, they're such musically, they're so good. Like Steven, saxophone is amazing.
On everything that Steven was just like switching instruments yesterday, and I was like, what's next? Yeah. This is great.
Yeah, and so that feels like really nice for me, where I'm like, I just have all of this talent at my fingertips to work with all these people, and everyone kind of knows what they can really do, and so it just feels now like this like sort of living organism. That's really nice.
And it's so polished because you have all those different iterations. You're like, okay, you know, you go now, you edit it, and we'll all put it together. Yeah. And it's so cinched together so beautifully.
Thank you, yeah. But this record, Arms, it's like, it's much more, it's like songwriting focus is much more sort of stripped down. It's not stripped, but it absolutely. Yeah, and it's
not in a bad way, but it is a lot of your older stuff is challenging.
Yeah.
And this is so much more of a let's sit down and just write a song. Yeah. Which both are great, but the difference is immediately impactful.
Well, Alan said to me early on, so I went through a challenging year where I had a really long relationship that ended, and that was, I mean, everyone goes through that, but it is kind of crazy. You're just like, you feel sort of dissociative, like you don't feel like you're living in your own body.
Yeah.
I really felt like the lights were always like just on the verge of going ultraviolet. Like it just felt strange, you know. And then I went through this kind of like crazy few months where I just, you know, couldn't go to my apartment. Like it was nuts. And so the only thing I could do with that energy was try to put it towards songs. Mm-hmm. But then, so then you're entering the genre of breakup album, and that is a very crowded world.
Yeah.
And so I talked with Alan early on of like, how do we do this in a way that feels like both productive for me, just personally, but also like that it's a new thing for the band. Mm-hmm. And he said,
that is such a surprisingly unselfish way for a songwriter to look at things. Typically a songwriter's not going to give two shits about what the band wants.
Yeah, well, you know, but I think in this case, like it felt like it was like we wanted to break new territory. I think that we'd done this kind of more, you know, whatever sort of orchestral sort of thing in the past. And Alan and I had happened to, during the pandemic, we ran like a songwriting class Zoom for like our fans just to make money while we couldn't tour, you know. And when we did that, I realized that he and I have a lot of thoughts about it, you know, and like I didn't realize that I had those because I'd always seen the songwriting was almost like secondary to the whole project, the arrangements and the theater of it. And so all these things were kind of like going through my mind, like, oh, I really care about the craft of songwriting. And so this album, besides the sort of personal journey, I also wanted it to be about craft and about songwriting and like putting the right lyric in the right place that really just twists the knife and makes you feel a certain way.
I mean, it's extremely obvious that that's how you approached it. Arms, go get it. It's an incredible album. We've gotten listener feedback throughout the year already. In fact, one of our listeners who is seeing you in Chicago, I think next Wednesday, I think around the same week I found out I was going to interview you, sent me a message saying like album of the year.
Wow.
No question.
All right.
Yeah. So you've definitely got some fans out there that are really excited to listen to some of the new songs in your tour that's just kicking off.
Yes. First show last night. It's great. Well, I guess sort of second. We did we played a show in Utrecht at this festival in the Netherlands, and it was just me, Alan, and Claire.
Wow.
And we went it was so funny because, you know, this is what tour is like. It's these insane juxtapositions. Like 4 days ago, we were in Utrecht in this like crazy concert hall playing with a string quartet where they did, the first half of the concert was my classical album. The second half of the concert was Arms with a string quartet.
Wow.
Very like seated, very respectful Dutch audience, you know, like
That's
just
amazing.
yeah. And like 3 days later, we're here, and it's like
You're in a bar.
like a
Boise,
stand-out
Idaho.
bar where everyone's just like very, you know, rowdy.
Yeah.
And one of the nice things about that on tour is that your songs kind of you sort of see how they can affect people in different ways and like in different contexts. And that's nice. It's like, to write a really good song, I think, is to write a song that you could sit there and listen to in a concert hall and like really think. Or you could be, you know, drunk in Boise or whatever, and, you know, and enjoy it and have it mean something.
Well, that's fantastic. Extremely, extremely excited to see you guys play, especially now that Rachel has let me know just how good it really is.
Now we got something to live up to.
Yeah. Better make the second
Well, that
show.
was a warm up too. That was your first show in a while.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, it
All
was.
together.
Yeah, and it's also a festival. There's no sound check, so you just throw and go. So
Just
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun though.
So, tour upcoming, Arms the album. If our listeners want to support you all, how do you want them to do it? How should they do it? I know, go to the show.
Go to the show.
Buy physical media.
Buy merch. Yeah. We Alan and I now we own our own record label, which is a new thing.
Awesome.
Which is great for a couple reasons, including that when you buy the vinyl, it actually goes to us.
100% of the proceeds.
Yes, exactly. So,
That's huge.
Yeah.
That is very, very huge.
yeah, so you can get those online at our website, sanfordband.com, or just come see us live.
Awesome. Ellis, it's been a pleasure. Incredible music, incredible band. Rachel has me even more excited than I already was. And we do have a lot of listeners excited for the shows upcoming.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Growing up is hard, growing up is fun, growing up is all you've ever done.
Rachel,
David,
we're here, midday. Let's give out another award, huh?
let's.
I have one in mind.
Okay.
This is going to be the How the Do You Not Root for These Guys award.
Okay.
Who do you think I'm going to say? Okay, first of all, every single, like, not just saying it, every single band we've interviewed, just amazing, delightful,
You know,
grateful.
I said to multiple bands after the interview that it feels nice to actually believe like kissing ass, but meaning it, because they have been all so amazing. Like, I'm not, blowing smoke. We're not having to lie, because all of the bands that we've seen have been amazing, and all of the people we have met have been so nice and
Absolutely.
so grateful and so kind.
But who was, even if you hated their music, and we'll go to that. I don't hate their music, but you'd have to root for them, because
Right.
they're just beautiful, amazing people.
Okay, so if I wanted to be best friends
Okay,
with any of the people,
I think. Okay, who is it?
Warren
Dunes.
Yes.
It is absolutely Warren Dunes. Julia and Jared.
yes.
I mean, just right.
They were so nice from the moment they stepped into the interview. I mean, she had on these earrings, and they were wooden and lightweight, and I was like, I love your earrings. She's like,
Okay.
"They're so lightweight," and I was like,
But all right, verse Chorus University L here with Rachel and the fantastic Seattle-based band Warren Dunes. How are you two?
Well, we're at Treefort Music Fest, so we're fantastic, because this is the festival that we love. They treat artists like royalty here, so we're having a great time.
We also love this festival because of how well they treat the artists and how much it's about the city
Yes.
as well.
I don't know how everything is so close to each other in Boise. Whenever you need to go to one thing, it's like, oh, we better budget the time, and it's right over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect for a music festival.
yeah.
So we've got Julia and Jared here. Dom would be the other member of the band. A little bit of a family band.
We are a lot of bit of a family.
Yeah.
I often say that, we've been musicians for a really long time, most of our lives now. And the reason that we continue to persist is because with family, you don't have a choice. You're locked in.
Yes.
And so that sort of transfers.
We also like music too.
We also like music. We also like music.
Thing, whatever.
That's going well too. But with family, you're sort of stuck, but we're happily stuck.
Aw.
It's nice. It's nice.
Would you be able to do that? Be in
No.
a band with your husband?
No.
Well, and I'll tell you, because this becoming a family band was not necessarily in the original plan, because Jared and Dominic were in a duo, and Dom was also a drummer in my trio.
What was the duo called?
Electric No-No.
Electric No-No.
Yeah. And then I was in Julia Massey in the Five Finger Discount. And that was for many years.
It's a great
Thank you. I didn't actually know what a Five Finger Discount was at the time. I just liked the way it sounded. And then somebody was like, "Do you like stealing?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And then I learned it, and I thought it was entertaining too.
Well, I actually just found out. I was looking up our new record is a psych record. So I was just like Googling one day, like, what are some like psychedelic words or whatever. And I saw Five Finger Discount, and I found out it's like a hippie word or something.
Oh,
It was,
really?
like, words that hippies used in the 70s, and I was like, Five Finger Discount.
I didn't know that.
Just saying, like, I'm just gonna. That is really funny.
The more you know. Yeah.
Well, in any event, we were both in those two bands, and then Jared, of course, playing music, me playing music, sharing a drummer who was his brother. We both had different visions for our genres, for our craft, and then we had a kid together, and we were able to collaborate on parenthood relatively well.
That's all.
And so we said, okay, this was a pretty good test of our egos coming together for something that's important. Maybe we could be in a band. And that was it 4 or 5 years ago? Or was it, I don't even know.
Yeah, and then he really got into Harry Belafonte.
Yes, our
He was a
son.
very opinionated
Yes.
music listener.
Very,
Right.
to this
That's
day.
awesome.
Yeah.
So then we were like, this music's awesome. Let's make a band that sounds like this.
That
Exactly.
makes
I love that you're raising him right. Honestly, that's so impressive.
feel
My
that
kid's
way.
like VeggieTales, and I'm like,
Oh,
let's
he
no.
likes that
together.
too, yeah.
We got that too.
funny that.
Yes, but the early exposure to not VeggieTales
Yeah.
was magical. And so that was sort of what informed our initial
Right.
sound.
What's funny is trying to come up with influences for your band is it's fun when you say Harry Belafonte. I would have never thought of it.
Right.
But I'm like, holy crap! Like that's
Right.
kind of how do you describe your genre? Yeah, good luck.
There's some fun. That's a great question because there's some funny ways that other people have said it.
So I think two have really stuck with us that we really like and it resonates is postmodern beach music.
Right.
That feels like
That feels right.
Sure.
Yes.
And it continues to feel right. But
because we
then
know we don't sound like what people normally consider as beach music, but to
Yeah.
us it feels like the Northwest version.
right,
of
the
that.
Northwest
And, like,
Beach, the rocky,
and
the
the north-
cloudy,
colder, grayer,
right.
Yeah, and the dark
That-
skies, but you
absolutely.
can still be on the
also-
beach, but it's not.
Also
like,
happy.
Yeah.
And our themes are the themes lyrically tend to be darker, but the sound itself we want to uplift. So it's this
Yes.
mesh. But then our friend Eva Walker, who is in a Seattle band called the Black Tones, she has been a real champion of our band through KXP. And she calls us PBS metal because she's like, there's polarized senses here that you somehow bring together.
Yeah.
So she called us that one day, and it just has made me laugh. And what I like about that is when we say that to people, someone has called us PBS metal. They're like, I don't know what that sounds like. I'm like, so look it up.
I love
Take
that.
a listen. See what it sounds like to you.
So we're constantly working towards those two.
Yeah. We're trying to sort of see if that's still
like
working.
PBS postmodern beach rock.
Right, there you go.
PBS metal.
I like it. Well, you because KXP has been a pretty big champion for
Yes.
you guys. Like they
Yes.
was it 2021 where you were like their 20th best
must-
album
I
of
think
the
that
year.
was right.
Our last
Yeah,
record.
that's
Yeah.
right. With Get Well Soon. Yeah, we have. They are such an amplifier of the local scene, even as they expand.
Yes.
So we feel very grateful for that resource in Seattle.
Same way, I'm assuming Duck Club is for
Exactly.
Yes.
Boise bands.
Yes.
Yes.
Precisely.
Absolutely. Show last night.
Yes.
We got in late. We did not get to freaking go.
All good. All good.
How was it?
You know what? It was wonderful. We remark about Boise whenever we've been here. We've been here for Treefort, but also not during Treefort. And every venue here is so magical in its own way, has its own personality.
Absolutely.
And when we saw Basque Center, we'd never been to the Basque Center or even seen it from the outside. And we rolled up and we went inside and we went,
Yeah.
this is gorgeous.
Isn't it great?
Yes, the acoustics. And what was really cool, and this is what we love about festivals, but Treefort specifically, was we played for so many people who we'd never met and who were there and stayed and were interested and wanted to talk with us afterwards.
Yeah.
It was really special. It was really special. And we were talking about the very end of the set and about risk-taking when we do the debrief after the show. This last time that we played, I jump out into the crowd, which is not something I normally do, and I'm getting used to it. And I tried it out last night, and it was like kind of cool. But I feel like Treefort is a safe place to try to take risks.
Absolutely.
So it was great. It was great. Basque Center, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Love it.
Do you have any sort of lesson training? I mean, you're up there, you're singing.
Yeah.
2 keyboards.
Right.
Where did that decision come from?
Well, it came out of necessity because we were a 4-piece at the time, a few years ago, and our bassist at the time was moving on to a different project, which was totally fine. And we were getting ready to go through the auditioning another band member process. And one day I said, you know what, we have this other keyboard lying around. Let me just see if I can do that double stack thing that people do. Organists do this all the time. It's a frequent setup. And I was trying it, and my brain is not hooked up to do this. So I said, well, maybe I'll give the old 90-degree angle a try.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people do that. Medeski, Martin, and Wood, we went to see them at Showbox, and he's like surrounded by 10,000 instruments.
Yes.
And I said, okay, I saw him do that. And it hurt my wrist.
Oh.
And so I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna try this and just see if I can do it. And as soon as I did it, my brain went, ah. And so that is how it worked out. It was sort of by accident and necessity.
Well, it's funny because when you see it as a fan watching, when you see it, it's kind of like, why hasn't anybody been doing this?
Right.
Because you are that way. You're not covered up by keyboards.
Exactly.
You have room to still
move around,
contact the audience, and
And what I've loved about it is that since I've been doing it, people will discover other people who have done it in the past. And I am so sad that I cannot remember this artist's name, but if you just go on Google and say woman playing 2 grand pianos, there's a bunch of videos of this woman. It must be in like the 1930s or something.
It's black and white.
It's incredible, and she does it. And there's some other videos of people doing various things, but it's kind of brought up an awareness that people can do this.
Yeah.
And I say that to folks. You know, Jared always yells at me, keep the mystique. I mean, you don't know until you try.
Yeah.
You don't know until you try. So it works for me.
I think people want to like magic tricks, and they
Yeah,
think it's
exactly. But like all magic tricks, they can be learned.
there we go.
Yeah.
Aquamarine,
Yes.
May 11th. Yes. What can we expect on that album?
Well, like I mentioned, it's our attempt at making a psych record. We all really love that genre and all the different decades and how it's evolved and whatnot, and we wanted to kind of contribute to that.
Yes.
And we've explored, through our journey through beach music, we've explored like being on a beach, but we really wanted to explore the water
Going
more.
underwater.
This one, we were like, this is perfect, psychedelic. There's so many psychedelic things in the water.
You're wearing the sweater for it.
We're Aquamarine.
Right.
I do feel exactly what Jared said, that even in the lyrical content, but the people who produce the record as well, there's little sounds in there that we hope evoke this idea of just being underwater. And we got to the point recently, we've spent all this time with the record. The album cycle can be stressful, can be joyful, all these different things. But on the way out here, we listened to it, and I said to the guys, critics will say what they want. I love this record. And that's always where you hope to be as an artist, to say, I'm at that point where I genuinely, I will welcome, we always welcome any feedback without ego, but I feel like this is one of our finest albums yet, so I am thrilled to share it.
Oh, we're extremely excited for it. Is there a pre-order?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, it's on
available now.
Bandcamp.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Through our label and through us.
Yeah, we have regular black vinyl, and then we have these really beautiful ocean blue vinyl.
I mean,
That makes more sense.
So listeners of this podcast, that's right up their alley. Yes. Go buy the physical media, get the pre-order, Aquamarine May 11th. I'm really excited about that. Like I said, ever since I saw that KEXP with you all, I've just been such a great band. So fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so
We
much.
appreciate that. That's the kind of stuff that keeps us going.
Good.
Thank you.
You've got, you're going to do a little Washington tour after Treefort?
We're gonna go even beyond Washington.
We have a lot of days. Yeah, we haven't announced yet, but we will be announcing soon. Yeah.
Along the region.
So go to the website. You are going to be in where Spokane.
We're gonna be in Spokane. We're gonna be hopefully back in Boise. We're gonna be in Port Townsend. We're gonna be all over the place.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned to the website so you can learn all of the tour dates. Go buy the physical media because that's the only way that we can support artists and know that they're actually going to be supported. One last question that we like to ask our artists. Beyond that, is there anything else that they can do to support you?
Oh, boy. You know what, for me, really makes a huge difference in just my general life as an artist? We get every once in a while these beautiful messages from people on either Instagram, email, what have you, where they share with us what an experience of hearing our song or this has done for them. And I always immediately forward it to the guys and I say, like, here's the fuel. Here's the stuff that keeps us going. As simple as it is, when you reach out to us and tell us what it meant, it is priceless.
Yeah.
Perfect. Julia, Jared, thank you so much for joining us. Warren Dunes, May 11th, Aquamarine. You can't go see them at Treefort because they already played. But that's okay. Follow them, Seattle Zone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
I guess you could say that I am thankful.
So, just saw a show, immediately had an award in mind, okay? I'm calling it, and it's, this is close to my heart. I'm calling it the Lane Staley Award. This is the timid in the interview, timid off the stage. Who am I talking about?
Vika. Hands down.
Like, okay, so we just watched Vika.
Yes. It was amazing. It was amazing. And when we interviewed her yesterday, she was so quiet, so reserved.
Still crazy nice, still
nice.
like super grateful, super generous with her time, everything, but just like, what was this gonna be when she got on stage?
The woman has some stage presence. It was
The band crazy,
the bass.
Vika crazy. They have the best merch ever. The bass player is 12 and just fucking like, just fucking shreds the shit. Vika is the Lane Staley Award.
Vika, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good to hear.
Are you enjoying the festival so far?
Oh yeah, I'm loving it. The energy here is so great.
It is, isn't it?
The sense of community too is really fun.
Very different festival than a lot of the ones.
Oh yeah,
been around.
exactly.
Have you played a lot of festivals?
No, the only festival we've played is the Fremont Festival in Seattle, and that's like one stage. So this is insane for me.
Yeah, it's a good one though.
Oh yeah, I got to meet so many cool inspirations of mine. So it's crazy to be playing next to people who have inspired me.
Like who?
Kid Bloom.
Oh.
I've been listening to him since 8th grade.
Awesome.
Got to meet him and make a good connection there, I hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, who else did I meet? We got to see some of our friends like Kiss the Tiger, Cadabra from Spokane.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great bands who we are kind of friends with that we got to see, so that's super fun.
So how long have you been doing this?
I've been playing music since I was 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
Started my first band at 14, 15,
Young.
14.
Yeah.
And yeah, really evolved since then. I love playing with a band though, for sure.
Have you had a pretty consistent band throughout?
I've had about 3 different lineups. I've stuck with my saxophone player for about 4 years now.
Okay.
He's been it since the beginning, so my bassist, it's been about 3 years with him too, so.
How long you been playing?
Like 7 years, I think, something like that.
Can I ask how old you are?
Yeah. I'm 19.
Well, why? You have no business being as good as you are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
How did you learn bass?
Thank you.
Well, when I was when I was in middle school, my friend wanted to start a band, and he needed someone to play bass. So I had a bass guitar just laying around my house. So
Okay.
I just started playing it, and it was really fun, and I loved it. I fell in love with the instrument, and I've just been playing ever since.
Yeah, but you're playing a 6-string fretless.
Yeah.
Is it all self-taught?
Yeah.
We have our drummer and keyboard player, who sometimes is my brother. But it's hard because he lives in LA, so it's kind of hard to find people who can consistently play with you, you know?
As far as your music, which is so unique and so, I mean, if I were to guess your influences, I would think of some pretty old school ones. Like even the new single that released, I'm sorry, it was March 1st. The new single that released March 1st, so go over to Spotify, go check it out, please. It's almost like a little Ronnie Spector-y, like almost a doo-wop vibe.
Yeah, definitely doo-wop, like 50s, 60s inspired.
Yeah.
The Jive Bombers, the Platters. Do you know Low Slow Steam?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of their inspiration from their album Faith in Love, I think. I just love their, it's kind of blues, almost like country blues, but it's got that 50s kind of sentimental vibe, and that's definitely where we're trying to head towards, is kind of embracing that retro feel.
I mean, you definitely have it. Yeah,
Thank you.
do it extremely well. Yeah.
My biggest influence is Amy Winehouse. I knew it.
Well, that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
And that's been forever. I've been getting that I sound like her since I was 13.
See, I didn't want to say it. So, she probably hears it
something
every
you
day.
Oh yeah.
So I want to
it's
just.
a great compliment. I love to hear it.
Yeah. We're quite big fans of
Yeah. Oh yes. She's incredible.
So, are you going to be, besides this, will you be playing anywhere else beyond Treefort?
We have like a 5-day mini tour in Washington. We're hitting Spokane, Bellingham, Seattle, and Everett.
If you want to go down to the Portland area,
Yeah,
some of us people would want to see you.
We really are trying to play Portland actually. So
Good. Perfect. Good. We're gonna go see you tomorrow.
sick.
Sorry, is it 3 or 1?
3 o'clock. Yes.
We're gonna go see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. We are very, very, very excited for it. One question that we like to ask is if our listeners want to support you, what's the best way that they can do that?
You can follow me on Instagram at _Olivia Vika, Vika, and you can follow me on Spotify at Vika, Vika as well. And listen to my new singles.
Yes, highly recommend it. I mean, really, really incredible.
Thank you.
Really, it's a very rare thing to get that sort of sultry stuff that you're giving. Really, really cool.
Appreciate that a lot.
Follow Instagram.
Yeah.
If you're do you have any swag at all?
I do. I have merch. You can find that on Shopify. That's linked in my Spotify as well.
So go buy some swag.
Yeah.
Okay? Gotta support.
All right, Vika, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you. It was so nice to talk to you guys.
Get back to partying, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we do an award?
Let's do an award.
Do you have anything like
I have a thing.
already? I love it. Okay, let's do this.
Okay, let's do it's about the art award. It's about
I already know.
It's about the art.
Okay.
It's not about the money.
Yes.
Money.
It's all about the.
Because they don't need that. They could go for some money. To be fair.
When we did their interview,
Yes.
did we interview 3 of them?
We did interview 3 of them. That narrows it down, but it doesn't narrow it out.
Is it a band that you would call, for lack of a better word, phenomenal? What's a better word for phenomenal?
Like a synonym for phenomenal, but like a refined, like exquisite.
I like exquisite. Yes. You know what I like night, but I also like the opposite of night.
Which is day. And what doesn't David have?
Dave's so exquisite. You
Yes.
are absolutely right.
Yes.
So much passion. So much.
Right.
Well, okay. Let's take the passion away from it for a sec and just talk about f***ing raw talent.
Yes.
Like we're gonna get into the interview, and multiple instrumentalists, specifically a keyboardist we're gonna talk about.
Right.
But the lyrics phenomenal, drums phenomenal, the keyboard work. My God.
Yeah.
I love that they very clearly, from the very beginning of the interview, from the very beginning of listening to the shows, listening to the songs, they have a message that they are fiercely passionate about.
They are. And we talked, not on camera, but off camera a little bit, about they have day jobs. They have to fund this passion that they have. And that's where it is. It's about the art. It's about making the music and getting the message out there.
And yet, once again, like every other band that we were lucky enough to meet, interview's over and we're just sitting there chatting.
Yeah.
We could have had beers with them all night.
Yeah.
Just amazing people, so much passion, and that's beside how incredible the music is.
Yes.
Yeah. The Day So Exquisite.
Yeah.
Verse Chorus Universe, DL here. How is it going? With me, of course, is Rachel Treefort Lover-Polio. Been here a little longer than me, which is not fair, but that's okay because we're feeling great now that we have Francesca, Lily, and Thomas in the room from Day Soul Exquisite, Seattle's own. How are you doing?
Great.
Fabulous.
Came in last night?
Yeah.
Drove out from Seattle.
First time doing Treefort?
Yeah, it's our first time.
What do you think so far?
It's been amazing so far. The crowd is really into it. Everyone seems really nice, and there's so many bands. We just stumbled across some really great acts.
Got to see the Mesthetics yesterday, who were amazing. Members of Fugazi.
Wait, what?
Yeah. It was so
They
good.
were incredible.
Yeah.
And then our buddies, Black Ends from Seattle, played over at Neurolux, and they always kill it. So it's been fun already.
We missed a couple of good shows. But we do get to see Day Soul Exquisite playing tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about your influences. Such unique and amazing music. Just absolutely amazing. We were listening to it before you got here. We turned it off before. We don't want to make it weird. But every single person, uniquely, amazingly talented. Sven would not shut up about the keyboards. Just unreal. The influences, where'd you learn, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think our influences are super spread out. We grew up in different music backgrounds, so
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a musical family, really blessed. So by the time I came into this world, there was already a drummer in the family, already a guitarist, and my sister played piano, so we had a little lovely little baby grand piano. So as early as I can remember, just been like, playing music. And my brothers started a punk band when they were teenagers, so I would come and like grab the microphone, and I could hardly even speak yet, you know, just like. And so I feel blessed that it's always been there. But I studied music. I ended up studying jazz, so that's like a lot of what my background is, and I bring a lot of vocabulary from like jazz and more like academic music, I guess. Which and it's been like, but it's been really liberating to come from that space where. Honestly, there's like the story of like musician burnout. Like I just got really jaded after school. Absolutely. And like had been taught like music is this one thing and you can do it right or you can do it wrong, and doing it wrong is bad, and like you got to learn how to do it right. But to come into this band, which I think that you back to the range of influences, we all have such different backgrounds, and negotiating that.
Yeah, I think like something that's cool about this band is we loosely call it like psychedelic neo soul. And we all connect around that.
We were trying to figure out what to call it. That's actually perfect. That's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, but we never, like, there was never an intention of, like, we want to create this genre of music. It was just we all really wanted to express ourselves fully, and every day, every time we're creating together, we're just bringing our own influences, whether it's punk or R&B or metal or classical or jazz or... it's just all of it kind of comes into conversation together. And we were talking about earlier, like we don't share the same backgrounds, and so we can't fall back on something Lily's been saying. Like we can't kind of just fall back on, like we always, you know, obviously we're going to go from this bridge to this chorus or something. It's just, keeps it new.
Yeah, and I would say even our overlap as artists within the band has different, like, it's like a Venn diagram that everyone overlaps at weird places. Like, Thomas and I bonded over Brazilian music when we first met at, like, a friend's release party. My uncle played piano, or still does, in the French Caribbean. So that's, like, somewhat of an influence. But, like Lily and I super bond on R&B, and, like, Josh is a metal drummer, but we also bonded on hip-hop. So it's, like... it's an amalgamation for sure.
No, so just very honestly, your band is one of the ones that when I found you through this Treefort thing, and 30 seconds into listening to the first songs, they're fucking fantastic. The talent is unreal, and not just the talent, but the way that you have melded it into something that is so unique, because you hear so many older influences and then such fresh new, thinking to put samba with this or that sort of thing. It's so unique. Where does that come from?
I think just our love of music. Our archive is huge. When I got the band together, I had like a long list of influences that ranged from like Stevie Wonder to the internet, to Hiatus Coyote to like Mos Def,
Fela Kuti.
Yeah, like we listen to so much music across so many ages. But like we also have like a really big love of like the 70s as well, and like Motown. So it's just like a little bit of everything. Yeah.
So you've been around for about 3 years?
Yeah.
Are you all from Seattle?
I grew up there. Josh, our drummer, grew up there. So did Zora, who plays bass and guitar.
Yeah, and like Tacoma as well. Zia and I are both from the South. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, and our saxophonist grew up in like Georgia, but also had family in Seattle.
Wow.
Yeah.
I moved to Seattle 11 years ago now, which feels nice. But yeah, I grew up like in California, just kind of bouncing around.
Okay.
Yeah, Southern California.
Tell us about Sanguine and Cardamom. So this is the EP that they came out with very recently. This is it's incredible. Is it 6 songs?
Yeah, 6 songs.
It's 6 incredible tracks. I'm hoping that we get to hear some of that tomorrow. But putting that together, what was the vibe like for that EP?
Yeah,
it was really fun. It was really exciting because it was, again, this band with so many different backgrounds and varying levels of like recording studio experience, and like just but I just remember going into that session being like, oh, we're gonna crush it. Like some of the members like don't know it yet because they're and, like people were anxious. Like, well, I was like, oh, this is gonna be fucking. I can. Is it?
You can say.
Okay, cool. I can.
You fucking not swear.
And it was really electric. I think it was like it just felt like all of a sudden we were in this like playground where we had all these tools and all our needs were met, all the little minutia of like recording music. It's so much, but we had like an engineer, Sam Westner, who was like really cool, fun, and exciting, and like really understood a lot of the musical touchstones that we have, which it's hard to find an engineer who really gets the whole net of what we're trying to do. And so having that support, it just felt so good. And we had cultivated a nice environment to be around, so it didn't feel stressful or upsetting or like, and sometimes, we could just be in a space together and hold each other's needs and play music together.
And we really took our time, like, writing. Like, we had been jamming together and kind of playing for, like, a year with those songs. So we were pretty comfortable by the time we were in the studio, which was nice. To not have, like, that extra set of nerves, because it is a lot of people. You kind of have to be on in terms of making sure you're using your time well. So, but it was great. Everyone stepped up to the plate, like, and I think finished tracking within like 3 takes. Like, wow, it was like we flew through it.
Yeah, and even though we had done so much preparation, there was still a lot of room for exploration. I felt. There were certain things that when we got to the studio, it's like, oh, this doesn't work the same way in the live arrangement. Like, how are we gonna deal with this? Or we never had to listen so close to understand a certain part or a section. And like one of the examples, like Zora brought her upright bass, which she never plays upright bass in rehearsals or anything, but and then on the track Yannick for the keys solo, she just thought it would be super cool to switch to upright there, and it gave it such a different feel. All of a sudden we're like in a little jazz trio in a dark bar somewhere, and it's awesome. Like really gave it.
I think like this EP along with our first 2 singles feels like our first period of music writing.
When you say your first 2 singles, are you sorry, is it Fuck Off?
Fuck Off and Feeling You.
Okay.
Feeling You is our first single.
And Claire Desante.
And Claire Desante. Sorry, 3 singles.
I'm glad that you said that because I was gonna butcher it. I did not want to have to say it.
Claire Desante is like it's a reference to Claire de Lune, but my family is from Les Antilles, which is like the Caribbean, so it's kind of like an ode to the Caribbean.
I like it.
Awesome. Yeah. I did cut you off though. Sorry.
Oh no, just I think without it being intentional, it feels like that's like the first chapter of our songwriting together as we were finding our sound together, as we were discovering what songwriting looked like together. And Francesca literally just booked time at the studio, and we didn't have a plan. Like we weren't like, this is going to be our EP, but we got in there and recorded everything left that we had written up to that point, and we listened back to it and we were like, I think this is the album. This actually all really come from this same kind of place and perspective together. And
was that a little bit terrifying going into you booked the time? you don't.
Yeah, I was like, get ready. This is but it helped to have something to work towards, and we were ready. So
to be a 6-member band in a time like now, which is impossible to be an artist almost. I mean, it's 110% about passion and not much else. What are the difficulties for a 6-person band to be, even to just try to tour or try to come out with physical media or try to come out with an album, something like that? It's got to be damn near impossible.
Yeah, finding a big enough Airbnb for everybody.
It's definitely challenging.
Yeah.
I mean, I think on the flip side of that, unless with 6 people, it's more energy, more labor, more love you can put into a project. And there's so much that goes into making music beyond just showing up and playing the gig. We gotta like do promotion and book the shows and find an Airbnb to stay at and like make sure there's enough food for everyone. And we have not only the 6 members in the band, we have a really large, lovely little community surrounding the band and
band family.
I think having such a big pool of resources, of labor and love and all of that, it really has, in my opinion, just helped us achieve our goals and stuff. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah,
I agree.
It shines through absolute in your music. The vibes are crazy good. Even because there's darker content in there.
Yeah.
But there's never any. It's not sorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming from a different place than that, to me anyway, from what it sounds like.
Yeah, a lot of Sanguine and Cardamom is about like healing, collective healing of traumas.
Yeah.
So we wanted to bring that energy to it, even if we were talking about something gruesome or like Abattoir is about police brutality, right? And it was written after Breonna Taylor was murdered. So it's like very hard things to even begin to conversate about or like really just heal from as well. But our band is full of so much love that I felt like I had the trust and support to do that with everyone. Yeah.
I think that song too is an example of the kind of organic songwriting practice that we end up in. We didn't say we're going to write this style of song. It just, as the lyrics came together, as the ideas came together, it became more and more. The music was reflected in the lyrics were reflected in the music, and I feel like we aren't really finding ways to say what we want to say musically and not just lyrically. And so that whole, several minute breakdown where Josh is bringing in his metal chops and doing blast beats, and Zia is kind of Pharoah Sanders free jazz shrieking on the saxophone. We really put so much of the emotion of the song right directly into the music, and I think that feels really important to us.
So how does that work, having so many members when it comes to starting to compose a piece? Like, is it an idea first? Do you bring everyone in? Does one person start it and then you work from there?
It's like all of the above, really. Sometimes one person will be like, this is a melody that I was working on, like, let's build from here. Yeah. Other times we're just like jamming all together and it just happens like in a moment. And we spend the rest of the time just like fine tuning and editing together. Yeah.
We have a large drive folder of all of our jams, and Josh, our drummer, is kind of the archivist of the group, who will be like, oh, there's this spot in like minute 12 of jam 271 or this really cool thing. We're like, yes, sounds great.
That is an important member of the band right there, for sure. That has me very excited to see you live. What can we expect?
Ooh, I don't know. Like, I think you mentioned like expect to cry, but I don't know. Hopefully, just be moved. Like, it's definitely like we're trying to touch people's souls. Like, it's in the title of our music, Yeah.
Yeah, we're. I think we show up just so ready to show up exactly in that space in every show. We always have a moment with each other, or we have our little group ritual before going on stage, and really just try to connect with each other. And whether it's one person or hundreds of people out there, we just want to show up and express ourselves to the fullest, and we also really play for each other a lot. We really enjoy
that's great.
Catching each other's eyes during the show, or really listening to each other a lot.
Yeah.
Dancing together.
I mean, I feel that. We've played shows for 10 people in the audience, and I have just as much fun because it's just we're jamming with each other, and we're gonna give those 10 people a hell of a show.
Well, we get to see it tomorrow. De Sol Exquisite, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are so excited. One last question we've got to ask. We like to ask whoever we can. Our listeners, all the music nerds that are listening and watching, what are things that they can do to support you?
follow us on Instagram, follow our Bandcamp, buy merch.
Yeah, go to
We've got some
Bandcamp, buy
sweet
merch.
t-shirts. We got stickers,
CDs.
tapes, CDs. We released our album on, it's a co-release with the album label that Francesca started called La Femme Records, and also with Den Tapes, which is the Seattle cassette label. So we have CDs and cassettes. That's, I mean, honestly, going on Bandcamp and grabbing gear there is always, it feels so good to get that email that's like, you got $7.
Yay.
Like, yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And stay tuned. We're streaming everywhere, and we have the next songs are in the works right now, so we have more coming as well.
Yeah, and we're going on tour soon.
Yes.
April 17th to the 21st is our Pacific Northwest tour. We're going to Bellingham, Tacoma, Eugene, Portland, and then back to Seattle.
Finally, yeah. All these bands are talking about their tours, and nobody goes to Portland anymore.
We'll be there.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. This is a blast. Can't wait to see you. Really incredible music. Sanguine and Cardamom. Go get it on Bandcamp. Get the swag. Get the physical media. Support the indie. Go see the tour.
And Free Palestine, ceasefire now.
I've been to a few festivals. I've never been impressed. It's always too much, too uninspired, too cold. So far, I don't know what makes Treefort Treefort. Definitely not enough to disclose it at this time. I do know that Treefort motivates me to figure it out. So come back Thursday for part 2. Let's see what we come up with.